Today we'll be talking about how to control Kundalini energy. So this is a big reason why a lot of people get into the internal arts, such as yoga or any other type of quote unquote energy manipulation practices. It's because of this big wow factor, that is associated with having full control of that Kundalini, that dormant Kundalini force that's just residing at the bottom of the spine or wherever location, in the lower body. Different cultures like to say it is located. So, controlling the Kundalini, first thing I would have to point out is with yoga, Neigong, Catholicism, any type of practices or any type of so all of this stuff will fall under the theology umbrella, right? So any type of thing that falls under that theology umbrella could be considered a method of harnessing the Kundalini. There's not just one way to do it. So people might think of Kundalini yoga and just strictly associate Kundalini manipulation with Kundalini yoga, but that's not the case. Kundalini yoga is just one way to do it. Hatha yoga is just one way to do it. Bhakti yoga is just one way to do it. Neigong and the many schools within the Neigong umbrella are other ways to do it, right? When you hear about Catholic saints, any type of theologian that was said to have been a saint, they found another type of way to manipulate that Kundalini force. Whether they recognize it as Kundalini or not, it just depends on, where they are from and the type of terminology they use that's associated with that same energy, right? In America, we call it bioelectricity. India, they call it prana. China, they call it chi. Japan, they call it ki. Catholicism, they call it Holy Spirit, so it's different names associated with that same force. Kundalini itself is said to be a giver of what? Cities, right? So people typically associate those who have awakened abilities with someone who has awakened the Kundalini, right? When you search on YouTube and you see practitioners like John Chang associated with the Neigong lineage, right? You see him utilizing cities, for lack of a better term. You see him utilizing cities. But how many people associate that with Kundalini manipulation? Not many, right? So by me being associated with yoga in general for a minimum of 14 years, going on 15 years. But the thing is, I've noticed that in yoga and in Neigong, which I'm also associated with, a lot of the mechanics are the same when it comes to certain types of awakening processes that we're trying to initiate in both schools. Even some of the practices like sitting in full lotus is the same. You hear stories of John Chang and how he meditates and stuff. What do they associate his meditation posture with? Full lotus. Same as in yoga, same as in a lot of different schools. Although full lotus isn't a necessity, but you will see a lot of things. You'll see a lot of parallels in these different supposedly unrelated schools. So basically, how to control Kundalini, you first need to come across a legit practice. You don't need to come across any practice that's just saying, hey, I can show you how to manipulate Kundalini. But I noticed the similarities in the different schools that I'm associated with. I noticed the similarities, and I became aware. I actually became highly aware. Maybe even it might be more appropriate to say I became directly aware that Kundalini is what we are manipulating when we do Neigong practices, right? It's just a different way of going about it, and might I even say it's a safer way of going about it. Kundalini yoga, some of the yogas in general, it's more of an uncontrolled manner of awakening this force. In Neigong, we have a more controlled manner, more safer, more secure, just more healthy in general, especially if you're like not living inside of an ashram in India, right? The guru can help you maneuver through or navigate through that path, of awakening. Whereas with Neigong, you don't need to be in front of the guru. Maybe you go there, you receive Shaktipat, right? Get that instant activation of the system, and then you go about doing the practices as they are taught to you, right? So that's the thing. And then also you want to have a system that's able to handle the energies over time. So that's where my yoga comes in handy at. Basically, I have 14 years under me, and I continue to practice it every day. I feel like my yoga gives me a superior standing compared to many other people who don't have any type of background or any type of internal development background, who go to these masters and even like receive the Shaktipat, right? I see some people receive Shaktipat and they can't handle it they can't handle it in a neutral way. When I receive Shaktipat, sometimes you can't even tell anything is happening, but internally, my insides are going crazy, but externally you can't really tell because my system is able to accept it more easily. So just regular yoga practices, in a sense, help you become more grounded, help you to control that force more better. People who don't really have that background, when they receive Shaktipat, you see the body jumping. You might even see like when they receive it to the forehead, the shoulders might do something like that because the whole system is like clenching from that strong bioelectric current, or strong pranic current, strong chi current, whatever term you want to use, depending on where you're from. Same phenomena or same energy being utilized. But basically, controlling that Kundalini, you want to find a system that is known for having people who could even emit energy to begin with. And when I say emit energy, I'm not talking about like these online schools where you learning Reiki and stuff like whatever, like just these random schools who like you go and you practice it for 1 month and you get your certification and you can go and do your own healings. This stuff is baloney. Honestly, a lot of people talk to me about that stuff. Like it's baloney, bro. Like when I show them the footage of what I do, they're like, "Oh, I can't believe it." Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. It looks hard to believe until you're there and you experience it yourself, right? But we have the same mechanics in Neigong as we also have in yoga that directly influence the awakening of Kundalini. I can't go into the mechanics, of course, but, well, not publicly. I can't go into the mechanics, of course, but essentially, the main difference between Kundalini yoga and Neigong, essentially, both methods are suitable methods to awaken Kundalini, but the main difference that separates them is one side awakens it and it's just flowing through the system. The other side awakens it and is directing it through the system. Is directing it in a specific manner to do one specific task, and that's it. So the Neigong side is directing it to do one specific task, right? Neigong is controlling this Kundalini force. Kundalini yoga isn't necessarily controlling that Kundalini force. That's the difference. We have the same mechanics to activate that force. So if you want to know how to control Kundalini energy, the direct method of controlling Kundalini energy, because this video is basically the what. If you want to know how, you have to actually join a school. Now, what I am willing to teach is like my yogic methods and stuff, and being able to handle the Kundalini force when down the line when you're able to meet with a guru or whatever who can awaken your system for you through Shaktipat, or and they're going, as they call it, empowerment. Down the line, once you're able to receive that force, it'll be a more fruitful venture for someone who's able to accept it in a more neutral way versus someone who, like, when it hits the system, it's like they just kind of lose control, because it's you still want to be able to guide that force. You don't want it just to, like, when they do the Shaktipat to the forehead, right? The masters I go to, you don't want to just get the Shaktipat and don't do anything with it. You want to specifically guide it in the way that you're taught to do the practice. In general, you want to utilize that same method that you're taught when doing the practice. There's one thing you're supposed to do, and you want to do it at all times. When you're doing any type of energy work, you want to maintain that type of that level of control. I don't know if control is the right word. It's because you want to maintain that level of control, basically. So Kundalini energy, you can join a church, but make sure there's saints involved with it. You can join a Neigong school. You can join a yoga ashram. Like, many cultures are utilizing the same energy. It's just how they go about doing it. My recommendation would be to go through a Neigong school and get this direct and get the direct transmission from them. Go to a legit master, someone that you're able to see do what you're wanting to do. If that person can't display it, don't listen to them. That's my biggest thing. I see a lot of people online who arguing, oh, go here, go there, right? And it's like, this person, I've never witnessed them do it. I never witnessed this party do it, and I never witnessed this party do it. But I have witnessed this party do it, and I have witnessed this party do it, not only online, but actually in person as well. So when that is the case, that's when you want to bite the bullet. That's when you want to jump on it, basically. That's when you want to become involved with that specific theologian, basically. So yeah, how to control Kundalini energy. Join a legit school. Receive the initiation, empowerment, Shaktipat, whatever term you want to use. Different terminology, same energy, right? You want to join one of those schools, go through with the practice. And like I said, I teach my yoga. I teach my internal yoga to be able to accept the internal forces down the line. And I teach it for a donation. So if you're interested in learning my yoga, and even just being able to achieve a full lotus like this, right? People don't wake up and be able to do this, right? This took some effort, right? But if you're wanting to learn my internal yoga, contact me through email. My email is in my description. NeigongDisciple@gmail.com, and I will be glad to assist you.